Cast aside and humiliated, he vowed to never be powerless again. His siblings had forced him out, thinking they had won. But exile wasn't the end, it was the beginning. He sought out those who once opposed him, enemies who had their own grudges. With careful words and shared resentment, he turned rivals into allies. The family that betrayed him had no idea that their downfall had already begun. His siblings had always underestimated him, dismissing him as weak, but weakness had taught him patience. He studied their every move, their alliances, their vulnerabilities. He knew who resented them, who could be swayed. One by one, he approached them, offering something more valuable than gold: revenge. The once scattered enemies of his family now had a leader, and he was ready to strike. The first strike was subtle, a whispered rumor here, a forged letter there. Distrust seeped into his siblings' ranks like poison. They turned on each other, questioning loyalties, suspecting betrayal where none existed. Yet, he watched from the sidelines, unseen, as the cracks widened. The alliances they had relied on for years began to crumble, and this was only the beginning of his carefully laid plan. He didn't need to strike directly. He let their own paranoia do the work. Old grudges resurfaced, alliances fractured. He fed the flames, ensuring that every suspicion led to chaos. His siblings, once so confident, now scrambled to maintain control. Meanwhile, his new allies moved in the shadows, taking key positions, gaining influence. The family that had cast him out was now fighting ghosts of their own making. Then came the final blow, a betrayal from within. One of their own turned against them. He had spent months cultivating doubt, and now it bore fruit. His siblings never saw it coming. Their strongest ally, their most trusted confidant, had been his agent all along. With one decisive move, their power crumbled. The outcast had become the architect of their ruin, and they had no one to blame but themselves. As his siblings fell, he stepped from the shadows. No longer the outcast, no longer the forgotten one. He had orchestrated their downfall with precision, and now he stood where they once did. His former enemies, now his allies, watched in silent respect. He had proven himself not just as a survivor, but as a ruler. The family that had cast him out was gone. He had won. But victory came at a cost. He had become what he once despised, a manipulator, a schemer. The power he had fought for now rested in his hands, but at what price? His allies watched him closely, waiting to see what kind of ruler he would be. Would he rule with wisdom, or would he fall into the same traps as his siblings? The game was over, but a new one had just begun.